Okay. All right. So today I had set to talk about like food lists. There's some, quirkiness to our food lists on a few things, and to talk about reading food labels. So I'm not going to screen share our food list because sometimes YouTube gets a little bit funny about proprietary information. So what I will encourage everyone to do, though, and I know all of us on here have the app going, but if you're watching the recording, your bod app, okay, so this little guy looks like the bod logo on your phone. If you go into that and then go into your tracking section and then scroll down just a little bit, there is a food list thing right here, according to whatever plan you have in there. Now, obviously, if you're on gut protocol, that is not part of this, but you can go into the program section and dial up the food list there so that you have that. But what I love about having this with me is there'll be times where, maybe you've been on Portion Fix and you're trying To Be Mindset for the first time. There's a couple nuances like butternut squash. That on Portion Fix is considered a green, but on To Be Mindset is considered a carb. Is that right? Did I get it right? I think that's right. And normally you have containers for fruit on Portion Fix, but on To Be Mindset, those are carbs. So that fills in your 25% carbs or your 50% carbs on your Plate It method. So it just things to be mindful of, and these are all right here. So when you're making your shopping list, when you're in the grocery store and you're like, oh, I need some other proteins, you can just dial this up right here, get yourself a can of sardines, top of the list for Portion Fix, and you're all set to go. Anybody here eat sardines? Lily does it? Yeah, Lily does. I do not. Oh, and goat's the top too. So there you go. They're always on my shopping list, right? Anyhow, so you have this information right here and it's super easy to access, which I love because who doesn't always have their phone with them? So one of the other things that we talk about a lot on the food list is between purple and green containers when it comes to salsa and tomato sauce, like a spaghetti sauce. So just for clarification, generally, and we'll talk about this as we get into labels, they add sugar when something is pre-made and on the grocery store shelf, right? So especially if it's, I would say, jarred and not refrigerated, then you have a better chance of having some sugar in there. So you want to look at the labels of things. Now let's take spaghetti sauce. Rouse is a brand that does not contain a lot of sugar, right? It just has the natural sugars from the tomatoes, and tomatoes have sugar. And I know Safeway has their own brand that is really similar to Rouse. It is also a low sugar. And when I say a low sugar, I'm talking 5 grams per serving. So that is not an added sugar. That's just 5 grams of sugar. Now, if your spaghetti sauce or your salsa shows an added sugar and it brings that amount past the 5 grams, then you're counting it as a purple. Okay. So then it has enough sugar in it where you're counting it toward a fruit amount of calories versus a green vegetable amount of calories. So as you're, shopping or looking in your pantry for things, also check your tomato sauces, canned tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, all of those things. Some brands add sugar. So you just want to make sure that you're not getting any added sugar that you didn't intend to be there or you didn't know was there. Because the more sugar we have, the more we want the sugar. And it doesn't really help us kind of get rid of those sugar cravings. So that's another call for another time, talking about all the ways sugar is in everything in our life. But it's something to watch out for when you're looking at labels, when you're looking at your food lists. So both things to check, salsa, your spaghetti sauces, to just see where things are at so that you know if you have added sugars or not and how to count them, green or purple. Okay, can you guys think of another example of something I'm missing here? Like what would either count differently between Portion Fix and To Be Mindset, or just a caveat in the containers? Oh, I thought of one. Yeah, Bev, do you have one?
Powdered peanut butter
Oh, yes.
is not Fix approved or Portion
Correct.
Fix approved. However, if you do use it, then it is 2 tablespoons equals a half of a yellow. But it is not recommended to use because, generally speaking, it usually is adding in added sugars.
Right.
And if it doesn't, you're still not getting the fat that helps you absorb the nuts protein and also helps keep you full.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
advisable.
She'd rather you don't
And
do it.
yeah, and you can have it on To Be Mindset. It's not
Right. Yes, she uses it in her Wonder Whips, in various things. That's a great point because there are quite a few processed things that are allowed on To Be Mindset, and part of the plan, part of the ease of the plan, that Portion Fix does not count in containers. And that's just simply because Portion Fix is meant to take you toward whole foods and the least amount of processing possible for your own body health and things like that. So that is definitely a difference. If you find you eat a lot of packaged things, then, you know, depending on how your other food, you know, quirks, we'll call it, are, you know, To Be Mindset may be a better plan to start with, to be on and use than Portion Fix. And quinoa. I was thinking of quinoa. So there are, quinoa is one of those things where if you're a vegan on the vegan plan, you get to count quinoa as a red. In Portion Fix, in Gut Protocol, it's a red for everybody. But in regular Portion Fix, meat eaters, you are counting that as a yellow. So sometimes there are things like that, like in Gut Protocol, beans can be our protein, whereas in regular Portion Fix, they are still a carb. So there's a few caveats if you've gone through Gut Protocol to Portion Fix that happen there. Any other things you guys can think of with those, the containers or To Be?
Is there any differences with the milks? Like almond milks or oat milks?
So how they're counted?
Yeah.
Yeah, so almond milk, 8 ounces, and we'll talk in terms of 8 ounces for all of these. Almond milk is a teaspoon. Hemp milk is a half an orange. Oat milk is a full yellow, I believe, for 8 ounces. It might be a half yellow. I'd have to, let's see if that's on the food list.
I remember there being a difference between yellows and teaspoons for milks, like a lot. And I was.
Yes. So this is FYI, when you're looking at the food list, these milks are under replacement food container groups, is what it's called. It's not, I don't believe they're totally listed under the yellows or oranges or teaspoons. So, so like a regular 1 to 2% milk is 8 ounces is 1 yellow. Almond milk, like I said, teaspoon. Soy milk is a half a red. Coconut milk beverage, so that's not going to be the coconut milk in a can. That's going to be the coconut milk in a carton that has a lot less calories, like a 45 calories per serving type. That is also 1 teaspoon. Rice milk is 1 yellow for 8 ounces. And then coconut water, okay, different than coconut beverage, is a half a yellow. So hemp milk's not on here. I had searched that in one of the groups, which I don't know that I recommend this enough too. Like if you're following either Portion Fix or To Be Mindset, jump in that group on Facebook that's for those programs because they really are very informative. And if you like, let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to have some hemp milk today. You can go in the search bar and you'll see all the times where people have talked about it or posted, and the nutritionists from Beachbody are in those groups. And so they also answer questions to say how, you know, what it counts as or what's happening. And it's a really great resource if you're trying something that maybe you can't find on the list.
Did you say macadamia nut milk?
I did not, but I count it as a teaspoon because it's 40. It is very similar to almond milk in its macros. And it's also 45 calories for an 8-ounce serving, which is roughly the same as almond milk. So I usually count that as a teaspoon. And then what was the other? Oh, oat milk is not on here yet, but I'm pretty sure that's a yellow. Because I think it's 140 calories for an 8 ounce. I remember looking one time, and that's the other thing. That's the interesting thing too. When I was on gut protocol, I like to get just an almond milk latte, so I don't add any sweetener to it. But the milks they use at the stores, at the coffee places, have the little bit of sweet in them. They're not completely unsweetened. So I think it was the hemp milk I looked at that we get when we walk up there. And it was like 13 grams of sugar or something like that. Like it was a lot. I was like, whoa, because the almond milk one I think was like 6 or 7. But like I was like,
Oh,
whoa, okay, that's way more than I'm even allowed on gut protocol.
oat milk is 8 ounces is a yellow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So these are all great. And then like, usually up to like a half teaspoon, I think maybe even up to a full teaspoon is considered a freebie in your coffee. Like if you were to do some honey or maple syrup. Let's look here on the freebies to see what she. Okay, she didn't put that in there with the. I believe that's listed on a page that is in, oh, here's coffee and tea. It's also under that same. Okay, so in moderation, max twice a day, 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk, 1 to 2 tablespoons of non-dairy milk, stevia, 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar, honey, or other caloric sweeteners. So those are not necessarily counted, but something you can have in there, but max twice a day.
So I found something that says that generally oat milk is 90 to 100 calories per serving, and they count it as one yellow. And then hemp milk is usually a half of an orange in a teaspoon.
Oh, plus
But
a teaspoon.
apparently the
Okay.
one, yeah, but apparently the one that this person posted, she's saying would be half of an orange serving and not a teaspoon. So I don't know what the difference is because it's very hard to even read the label that the girl posted, but it was one of the admins that answered. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell.
Sorry,
It's hard to read.
barking at my little buddy Mav over there. He's 3. Timber's being naughty. Yeah, the hemp milk, I do remember that half plus a teaspoon, and I wonder if there's some that are more fatty because hemp is pretty fatty, and a little bit of protein like a hemp seed, right? So which makes sense. So I wonder if it just depends on how the brands and how they're doing it.
Mhm.
Tastes really nice though, I'll tell
Right.
you that. It's very creamy.
Right. I like cashew milk a lot.
I have
So
not
do
had
I.
a cashew. Now, does that end up being 45 calories a serving, or is that more than that? How's that one work out?
I don't know. I haven't had it in quite some time because
Mm,
I would only add like a little bit, like
yeah.
just, like a couple ounces to my shake because it just made it get thick.
Yep.
But I haven't used it since since starting the gut protocol. So months. It's been months.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it'll go bad. Like,
Yeah.
if I open up a whole carton and I just use it, like it'll go bad before I would use all of it. So
Yeah. It's
I just haven't used it.
yeah, you definitely have to go through those or they get a little bit weird.
Yep.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other container things we can think about? I'm sure, as things come up, this is one of those great things you just ask on the call or throw into the group and we can look it up and find out. All right, so let's talk about food labels. I grabbed a couple here. So this is my favorite peanut butter. And She needs to knock that off. I'm on a call, Timber. How bad is it for you guys? Can you hear her a lot?
No, it's
Okay,
okay.
good. Then I'll just keep talking. Okay, so this is a peanut cashew butter. And when we're looking, so just the basics of looking at a label, you are looking to see what the biggest macros are, the proteins, the fats, the carbs, those are your macronutrients, right? That's what makes up the macros that everybody talks about. It's funny because I feel like everybody makes it like this elusive thing, like, are you doing macros? You know, like it's complex. And it's really just the basic 3 things that make up your foods. And so whatever macro you count it toward is the one that makes up the majority of that food, right? So while this peanut butter has lots of protein, it has some carbs, but it's majority fat. So it's going to be counted as a fat. It's counted as a teaspoon. And so as you're going through your label, you're just looking to see what the grams are of the fats, the carbs, and the proteins. And then you're going to see right away which one is the bulk of the product, right? And some things count, like let's take our beach bars. It's half protein, half yellow, so half carb, and then a teaspoon for some fat. So it's a well-balanced, snack. But so some things are going to cross different containers, or if they're on to be mindset, some are going to count toward, your half carb and your half protein for breakfast. So as we're looking through here, so one of the big things that Alana does, and I use it on Portion Fix too, is she talks about your carb to fiber ratio. And this is going to tell you if it's what she calls a fiber-filled carb. So a carb that has a lot of fiber that's going to help keep you full, also help with digestion. On Portion Fix, this is just going to be a regular yellow for the most part, because she puts yellows on there that have lots of fiber in them. Those are the top third of the list. So when you're looking at your label, it's 10 grams of carbs per 1 gram of fiber is the minimum you want in your ratio. So as I'm looking at this peanut butter, my total carbs are 9 grams and my total fiber is 2 grams. So that's more than a 1 to 10 ratio. I have 2 to 9, right? So you're just looking for, so even if this were 20 grams of carbs, I have 2 grams of fiber, that would still be a good ratio, and that works. So you're just looking for some cues there to know, is this, good choice for my container or for my plate up method? And then the next thing that you're looking for is what's in the ingredient list. And that's really tells you, what is the sugar from? What is the main ingredient? Like, so if I have peanut butter, I'm going to hope peanuts are the main ingredient and the first on the list. The ingredients are listed in order of weight volume in the product. So that most amount of weight volume is the first one. So this has peanuts, roasted cashews, peanut oil, organic clover honey, chia seeds, flax seeds, and sea salt. This is my superfood peanut butter. And so as you're going through there, right, you're looking for what are the choices of sugar, right? Is it a sugar I'm willing to have? Are there things in it that I really don't want? Are there things in it I can't pronounce and maybe I don't need? So that you're just looking to see what's happening there. And the thing I would most look for, like if you're buying a product that claims to be no sugar, low sugar, unsweetened usually means there literally isn't sugar, but I'd still look. But things like no sugar, low sugar, things like that, that means they've used something to replace the sugar, right? So there's something that's likely non-caloric, but sweet that they've added in. So you want to see what that is. Is it an artificial sweetener? Is it stevia? Is it, something you're willing to have and something that's Portion Fix approved? So artificial sweeteners are something that when it's on a label, it's just out for me, right? It's not Fix approved. It's not my body approved. And, it's funny, I had an alcohol gosh, it's probably a couple months ago. I had a kombucha and it had a bunch of erythritol in it, and I had a headache the next day. And I had a different brand that didn't, and I did not. So I'm guessing maybe it was a little too much erythritol for me and what was happening at the time, but that can cause headaches or digestion issues. So things to think about.
Can you talk a little bit about erythritol?
So yeah, I mean, I can just say it's a sugar alcohol, right? So sometimes they will replace sweetener, like how they're going to sweeten the product with a sugar alcohol. And does that one have erythritol in it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
so it's a sugar alcohol. And so you've got you've got artificial sweeteners, you've got natural sweeteners like a stevia, and I guess a monk fruit would be considered in there. A dates would be considered in there. And then you've got the sugar alcohols that are like just a portion of something that's sweet. So they're not caloric, but they're also sometimes not tolerated well by people's bodies. So you have to just kind of use it with a bit of caution because they can be a good alternative if you tolerate it well.
So like
That wouldn't be something I'd use a lot.
this one has less than 1 gram of erythritol.
Yeah, and I don't know, Beth, do you know anything about like amounts? I don't really know what kind of amount means, you know, good, bad, and different. I think it's up to each body. Yeah, I don't know.
I know that sugar alcohols in general cause digestive issues because it messes with your microbiome too. So it just wreaks havoc on your microbiome. On top of the fact that, yeah, like people will get upset stomach issues, like if you have too much of it. Like gastro issues usually are the most common, or you get headaches or other types of aches, but it all stems from just inflammation in the gut, pretty much.
Which is
So
all
I
these
don't know about
symptoms as artificial sweeteners too, basically.
Mhm.
Interesting. I was just curious. Aaron came home with this from Costco, and so I was curious about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, you know, I mean,
A
I'd
lot.
try it and see how you feel. If I remember right, that one, I think it was it was either June, no, it was Kyla. It was Kyla because it's made right here in Hood River. And I think it had 7 grams of erythritol. So that's quite a bit.
Mhm.
So, you know, I think you just have to kind of see where you're at with it and try it.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
just curious how bad it was actually for me versus, you know, I know I always try to stay away from them, but I opened the package before I saw that there was erythritol in there.
Yeah. And like some people feel like erythritol is a better alternative than an artificial sugar, right? So it's like you kind of have to pick where you're at. I mean, I think my first preference right now, where I'm at, is I want to just not have as much sugar as possible. So
Yeah.
if I can figure out a way to eat less in general, and then it's like I try to go to sources that are natural or, you know, like a whole leaf stevia or honey or maple syrup are kind of my go-tos.
Yeah.
Well, and again, the whole thing is that the sugar alcohols are usually a lot sweeter than what a sugar is. And so, and then it sends you on the cycle of your body thinks that it's going to get food. And now you're not giving it something that has substance to it. And so then your body starts to go into the crave cycle.
Right.
So that's the other downside to a lot of the beverages or even gum, a lot, like pretty much every gum. I just started noticing gums that are coming out with organic cane sugar.
Oh,
I was like,
interesting.
well, hello. I've been looking for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, toothpastes a lot of times will have erythritol in it because yeah, I mean, they say that it doesn't hurt your teeth or whatever because it's not sugar, but it is so powerful in toothpaste. I mean, it's just so powerful. But yeah, so it definitely sends you on that crave cycle if you're ingesting it. I don't know that if you're brushing your teeth and you spit it out, you're not really ingesting it. I don't know that that makes a difference, but I mean, chewing it like in gum, it definitely, I know for me, whenever I was chewing gum regularly, it would make me hungry because that's the first step of actually eating is your body sends the signal, okay, you're chewing, so I need to start creating stomach acid
Yep.
and get you ready to be able to digest food. And then you're not putting anything in there. So a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I chew gum to prevent, eating. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
I get that, but your body wants to eat now more than it did before.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, I have all the chocolate chips that aren't good for you because I have the Lily's ones. And it's interesting because they're like stevia sweetened, but yet they're mostly erythritol. So there's 3 grams in a tablespoon for both the generic and the regular.
So how do those taste? Do they taste like more sweet than, I'm curious, like, with that amount in it?
Delicious. I mean, I'll be honest,
Like I love
like
them.
I try to have coffee with like organic stevia, like the liquid drops. And I can't, it doesn't, I don't know, it just leaves an aftertaste. And I don't find an aftertaste so much with these. However, I do get the gastro issues that Beverly was talking
Oh,
about.
interesting. Okay.
It bloats really bad and like my body doesn't know how to process this
So what
stuff.
if you did like honey or maple syrup?
I don't know. I'd have to try that.
I mean,
Yeah. For sure.
because I feel, I don't know, I tend to side more on, I'd rather have something that came not out of a lab, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have
Absolutely.
honey or maple syrup and deal with the calories than have something that's artificial or an alcohol or things like that that my body might not enjoy as much.
Yeah.
All right,
Definitely.
ladies, I gotta go. I'll see you
See you later, Bev.
Bye.
Picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay. I can do it. I can do it. Ready?
Soup.
I did it.
Oh, you did it? Okay. Wow, that was quick. All right. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
So yeah, I don't know, I just kind of err on the side of like, is it more real? Then I'll take it.
Yeah, I agree. I was just curious about
Yeah.
that because it is in a lot of things.
Yeah, and then even like I'm having Bevy right now, right? And that's stevia sweetened. And to me it is it's a little like I don't know how much you're supposed to put in here if it's like 8 ounces, but I usually fill this thing up because it's a little too sweet for me if it's
Oh,
concentrated, right?
I fill this
So-
whole thing up with water and put 1 stick in, and it's
Yeah,
still-
exactly.
Still too sweet.
Still a little too sweet. Like this is still a little too sweet. But yeah, I don't know. So then you have to kind of just see where you're at with those things. Do you guys have food labels you want to talk about?
I have a couple. I have this one.
Oh, okay. What is it?
It's freeze dried avocados.
Okay.
They're like a chip, I guess. I don't know, but of course it has keto on it. Healthy.
Yeah, that makes me,
fat.
anytime they put keto on it, makes me not want to buy it.
I know, gluten free, non GMO. It was in the truck stop. Okay, so that's where it came from. So low expectations. So it has Hoff avocado seasoning, which is guajillo
Oh yeah, Guajillo chilies.
chili powder. Yeah. Chipotle chili powder, smoked natural flavor, lime juice, and vitamin E.
Oh, those sound good.
Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised. 1 serving size, which is the entire container, is 170 calories, has 15 grams of fat, 2 saturated fats, 9 carbs, 7 fibers, and 2 grams of protein, no added sugar.
So you have a great carb to fiber ratio there, right? You're
Mhm.
probably at like 2 blues for a container, because I think blues are somewhere around like 80 or 90. Yeah, but it sounds like a good option, right? It's not, I mean, you're not going to have, The difference in dried things is you're not going to have the additional water content to make you feel more full. So you may tend to eat more of something because you're not as full as you would have the actual like half an avocado, right? Because the volume isn't there.
I couldn't eat them. I mean, I had like a fourth of a container. I mean, a fourth of a bag. I couldn't eat them all. I mean, I could eat an entire avocado,
Yeah.
but not that. I don't, it wasn't the same.
Yeah. Was it not very satisfying?
It's chewy, so you gotta chew it a little bit, and it's not, regular avocado. It's mushy. You can just
Right.
like just keep go at it. And
Yeah.
this was a little different texture. And the chipotle spices and stuff were really good, actually.
Oh, good. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it might be it's a good quick thing to just grab. Then it doesn't sound like it's, preserving itself with weird stuff or.
Yeah, but I was just curious because of course it says keto all over it. So
Right. Yeah. The marketing, of all the stuff.
yeah, and it had a lot of fat in it also. So that's why I was curious. So, and then I have these ones, the dry roasted edamame.
Oh yeah.
So basically it's just soybeans, sea salt, wasabi powder, which is wasabi oil and dextrin. That's it. For a third of a cup, it's 130 calories, 4 grams of fat, 10 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugar, and 14 grams of protein.
Okay, and edamame is on the red thing, right? Let's look and make sure here.
And I think it's only in the red for gut
Is
protocol.
it only for vegan?
Or maybe vegan.
Okay, let me look at
Take the
yellow.
yellow. I'm pretty sure it's a yellow. For
Yep. Organic edamame shelled is yellow.
Which, I mean, it has literally 14 grams of protein.
Yeah.
And not very much
What was the
fat.
carbs? What was the carbs?
Carbs are 10 and 6 fiber.
Interesting. So it does have more protein than carbs.
Yeah, that's why I was like, is it really a yellow? Would I count it as a yellow?
Yeah, I don't know. Some of those things, I'm not really sure, the science behind why they count it the way they do, but sometimes it also like, it's not just the macros, it's also calories associated and maybe how it falls into the plan.
Well, yeah, because 130 calories would not be, well, I guess it could be a red. I mean,
yeah,
that's still in the, yeah.
And it's above 10 grams, which I think you're between 10 and 20 for a red.
Yeah.
Grams of protein.
That's
I'm not sure why.
That's why I was curious. I was like, it seems like it should be some protein, but it's not considered protein.
Yeah.
That's another one of those things where I would think it should be on the protein list.
You'll have to message Autumn and find out what she was doing there.
Are you kidding? Never mind. I won't say we're recording. Good luck with that. You can go ahead and ask after.
Right? Do you have one, Sue?
That's why we have
No,
you.
I don't have anything.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Do you have any you want to talk about, Jess?
Yeah, I was wondering, so we eat a lot of deer meat around here. So Jesse makes jerky homemade with the ground deer that we have. So basically he mixes it up. He has like a jerky cure. And then he has like, he also adds like barbecue sauce and some spices. So again, I know this is barbecue sauce. I can work on that. But outside of that, what else? Like, I don't know how to track that. So like I'll eat, maybe like 6-inch strips, like 4 of them. And I'm just tracking them as a red.
Well, like, okay, so before it becomes jerky, I would see if you can kind of navigate how many ounces, because it's 5 ounces raw, 4 ounces cooked, but you'd be going raw to really dehydrated. So if you're like, I would see how many ounces roughly it is before it's dehydrated.
Okay.
And then that could give you a better idea of what a red is. So if if each one is 2 ounces, then you'd have like 2 and a bite, be a red.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, because I think I'd go off that versus, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard.
I know, and again, it's lean, and it doesn't have any added soot or anything to it. So I don't know, like, is it just straight red, or would it be a teaspoon, two?
That depends on he doesn't add any fat to it.
Mm-mm.
So I would say you're not adding a teaspoon, but depending on how much barbecue sauce, you may add a part of a yellow
Okay.
in there. You know, or if the barbecue sauce has some fat, then maybe it's a teaspoon. You'll just have to see what the calories are to kind of equate it. And maybe it's so minimal it doesn't matter, right? Like maybe it's like a cup of barbecue sauce for, 50 of these jerky pieces or whatever. I don't know. So then, then it's like minuscule.
Yeah. I feel like your cat is gonna pounce on your head. Like,
Oh my God, I didn't even see she was there. That's hilarious.
I was just thinking that, Jess.
Oh, that's funny. Hi, Daisy.
She like stuck her little head out. It's like, oh, she's gonna bat your little pom-pom head. It's cute.
She has been having the time of her life. She was walking around the pollinator garden. She's loving it right now because the dog was stuck inside.
Oh, good for her. Well, thank you.
I did just put I put a picture on my stories though. She was laying in front of all the booze in the kegerator, and I'm like, she really needs to stop day drinking. She looked like she was passed out.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Meat's kind of funny because it's like I kind of just go off of like what I know, like salmon. I don't sit and break it up and put it in my red container. I just do sizing that I know is roughly the same each time because I'll get like a big fillet and then I'll break it up and freeze it in pieces. And we use and sometimes we'll even get it already frozen in pieces from Costco. And so they're already in like a 5-ounce piece. And then, you know where you're at and you just cook it and eat the fillet. So it's same with steak, right? You kind of just have to figure out, you just kind of know what size you can do. Go from there.
Well, everything is figure outable, so
It is, isn't it? It's great.
I'm determined to figure this out.
So I don't have anything else along those lines. I should bring up here in case people watching the recording that we're going to do a gut protocol group with a prep week starting September 26th, which I'm super excited. I'm already excited to go back on the gut protocol. I don't know what's happening with me. And so, yeah, September 26th. And then that would be a prep week to learn the program, get adjusted, get our meals in order, and then start on October 3rd. And let's see, I can't remember what tomorrow is. Tomorrow, Nerd Day?
Yes.
Nerd Day for Funky Friday. So I'm going to use some filters on my Instagram.
Need to figure out some good ones.
Yeah. And then the next meal prep class will be September 11th because the first week is Labor Day weekend. And I'm assuming we're all going to be having some kind of fun.
Wait, isn't that your birthday?
It is my birthday.
Yeah.
So
you better
I
be
thought
having
about
fun
putting
then.
in a dessert. So
You
that
better.
Yes, definitely.
Cake
we'll make
pops.
some kind of dessert. What'd you say?
Cake pops.
Well, what are the Autumn's got? I've made her
The banana cream birthday
banana
pie.
cream pie. They're
I
the
was
best
just
things.
looking at that.
I love them. They're so
Yeah.
good.
Well, that sounds.
They're a little more complicated though for the meal prep.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of steps, but we'll see. I'll look up something good because I probably should have something that's on the blog anyway. So, or maybe we'll make a birthday
that's
cake
true.
shakeology. We can all have our shake together. Oh, geez,
We
she's
should
down. My God, she's attacking.
Do some vanilla chai Shakeology, then people will be forced to buy it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to get that. Yeah, so if you're watching the recording, vanilla chai Shakeology is available. I can't wait.
Time
Sounds
ship.
so good.
Mhm.
It's gonna be amazing.
Oh, and they actually have on the blog several recipes to using it as already. Spiced apple vanilla chai overnight oats.
Oh yes.
Ooh.
please.
Doesn't that sound
Here.
yummy?
That does sound yummy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and is there an energy ball or something? Because maybe we could make that.
Not that I see, not with that anyway, but
Okay. Because I've thought about maybe we should do that in meal prep. make one of the energy balls with Shakeology, because so many of them, it doesn't matter
Oh,
what flavor
yeah.
you have. You can just
Mhm.
throw in, you know, they're all going to be pretty
Yeah.
good.
Definitely do that. That would be good.
That would be
Yeah.
good, because then you can stick them in the freezer, or you can just eat them or whatever. And plus, with everybody's kids will pretty much be back to school at that point. That's a good after school grab.
Sounds good.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that's all the announcements. I'll hit the stop.